It's my journey, it's your journey. You need my help and I need yours. 'Cause we are...
Hello, family. Welcome to Journeys of Faith Super Saints podcast. Brother Joseph Frialdenhoven here at your service. Be sure to look at the description for special information of interest to you in Bethlehem at Christmas. Entering the cave where heaven kissed earth. There is a hush upon Bethlehem at Christmas, a silence that brims not with emptiness, but with the stirring of something eternal. For centuries, believers from every corner of the earth have journeyed here to the cave where heaven truly kissed earth, where the Creator stooped down and took human form. Within the chill stone walls of the Nativity grotto, our faith is not a distant memory. It is living, breathing, pulsating through centuries of Catholic tradition and devotion. At Journeys of Faith, we invite you to pierce through the distractions of the secular season and immerse yourself in the radiant heart of the Incarnation. This isn't just another Christmas story. This is a call to return to the source and summit of our lives, the Eucharist, the living Christ first laid in the manger of Bethlehem, a mystery celebrated daily on our altars. Through our pilgrimages, resources, and devotions, discover anew the awe and the promise of Bethlehem at Christmas. Join us on a spiritual adventure that draws upon our Augustinian heritage, unwavering orthodoxy, and burning desire for heaven, a journey where the ordinary gives way to glory, kneeling beside the manger where God's love became flesh for us all. Tracing the road to Bethlehem, prophecies fulfilled. The journey to Bethlehem at Christmas is not merely a matter of geography, but of prophecy, promise, and profound mystery. Centuries before shepherds saw angelic hosts on those Judean hills, the prophets of Israel uttered with unwavering faith the promises of God's Messiah. These were not vague dreams, but precise divine revelations pointing directly to the little town of Bethlehem, the place where, in God's providence, heaven and earth would meet in the most extraordinary way. The prophet Micah, speaking in the 8th century before Christ, delivered the astonishing oracle, "But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are little among the clans of Judah, from you shall come forth for me one who is to be ruler in Israel, whose coming forth is from of old, from ancient days," and Micah 5:2. In this small forgotten village, the eternal plan of salvation took on flesh. It is here that the promise God made to Abraham, reaffirmed to David, and proclaimed by the prophets, burst into radiant fulfillment. Every Christmas, as we gaze toward Bethlehem, we do not simply recall a quaint nativity scene. We enter into the crescendo of salvation history, a story centuries in the making. Isaiah's Emmanuel, God with us, is no longer a hopeful longing, but a living presence, carried in the womb of the Virgin, escorted by Joseph, and awaited by all creation. For the faithful who make pilgrimage, whether physically or spiritually, to the cave where heaven kissed earth, Bethlehem's meaning is amplified by the harmony of God's word and work. The ancient prophecies echo still, confirming that our faith is not built on fables, but on the living word who made his dwelling among us. Every step toward Bethlehem is a step into the heart of God's eternal fidelity, where hope was not deferred, but delivered, surrounded by angels, adored by shepherds, and awaited by the whole world. Join us on a journey to Bethlehem at Christmas. Let this Christmas be more than nostalgia. It's an invitation to encounter the heartbeat of salvation right where heaven kissed earth. At Journeys of Faith, we carry the flame of Catholic orthodoxy and Augustinian spirituality, igniting hearts to rediscover Bethlehem not as a faraway place, but as a living, breathing miracle at the center of our faith. Are you ready to deepen your devotion and stand spiritually in the cave where the eternal word became flesh? We invite you to explore virtual pilgrimages, walk with us through Bethlehem sacred sites without leaving home, experience guided tours rooted in Catholic truth, focused on the Eucharistic miracle at the core of our mission. Shop our Bethlehem inspired gifts. Discover thousands of faith filled gifts, artisan pieces, and sacramentals at our online and physical gift shop, the largest of its kind in the region. Every purchase supports Catholic evangelization. Bring your community. Organize parish retreats, school groups, or Catholic store events. Let us help you lead others to a Bethlehem encounter where the humble cave becomes a gateway to heaven. Support our mission. Every prayer, donation, and pilgrimage helps us fulfill the vision of one heart, one mind, one spirit with one vision, drawing all to the Eucharistic heart of Jesus. Make your Christmas pilgrimage with us. Experience the love, the awe, and the life-changing grace that only Bethlehem can give. The Cave of the Nativity, geography, and grace. To stand at the threshold of the Cave of the Nativity is to find oneself at the holiest crossroads, earth and heaven, time and eternity, the human and the divine, beneath the golden mosaics and the incense veiled stonework of the Basilica of the Nativity lies the humble cave where the Word became flesh, John 1:14. It is no mere legend or poetic device. The rugged geography of Bethlehem, with its limestone grottos and shepherds' fields, preserves the memory and miracle of the Incarnation. This grotto, long venerated by Eastern and Western Christians alike, anchors the Christmas story not in nostalgia but in blessed physicality. Pilgrims descend into the cave beneath the church, their hands brushing the cool, ancient stone, worn smooth by centuries of prayer. Here, the precise spot where heaven kissed earth is encircled by a silver star embedded in the floor, its Latin inscription proclaiming, "Here Jesus Christ was born of the Virgin Mary." Amidst the flickering lamps and echoing hymns, the cave's humble setting proclaims a profound truth. God chose the lowliness of a manger and the shadow quiet of a cave as the portal through which his infinite mercy entered the world. The geography itself becomes a sacramental channel of grace, a silent testimony to God's paradoxical preference for humility. As the Catechism reminds us, the Incarnation is not only an event in history, but a continuing mystery that floods human hearts, especially at Christmas, with hope, reverence, and awe. When you kneel at the altar in this cave, surrounded by the stones that witnessed the first Christmas, the boundaries of space and time seem to dissolve. Bethlehem at Christmas is not a relic, but an invitation, a call to behold, adore, and receive anew the gift of Emmanuel, God with us. Where heaven kissed earth, the mystery of the Incarnation. There is a hush that falls over Bethlehem at Christmas, an awe unlike any other, as if time itself bows low to what happened in that hidden cave. Within its humble walls, heaven touched earth, not in thunder, not in seen spectacle, but in a silence deeper than night. Here the eternal Word took on flesh, and divinity was robed in the vulnerability of a newborn. To gaze upon the birthplace of Christ is not just to remember history, it is to stand at the threshold of the most profound mystery ever to grace creation, the Incarnation. This is the great scandal and the greater glory of our faith. The infinite light, who dwelt unapproachably beyond the stars, descends into the swaddle of human poverty. God does not appear as a distant power, but as a child, utterly dependent, cradled by his mother. The cave becomes a tabernacle, the first altar where the bread of life is laid in a manger, a vessel for animal feed. The echo of the angel's song still trembles beneath its low ceiling. Glory to God in the highest. The shepherds, simple and rough, keep watch at his crib, bridging the chasm between heaven and earth, the temporal and the eternal. To enter the place where he was born is to confront the core of Catholic faith. The same Jesus born in Bethlehem's rock now offers himself in every Mass under the form of bread and wine. The Eucharist makes present the child we adore. At Christmas, it is the same Lord, veiled in humble appearance, accessible to every longing heart. In this cave, The Creator stooped low for us so that we might rise with him to the heights. The joy of Christmas is rooted in this awesome exchange. God became man so that man might become partakers of the divine nature. A second Peter 1, we need 4. Here, where heaven kissed earth, eternity entered our history, so we could enter his liturgical celebrations in Bethlehem on Christmas Eve. As the sun dips behind the ancient hills, Bethlehem transforms into a living altar. On Christmas Eve, this sacred city draws the faithful with a fervor and joy that echo the celestial hymns sung on the first Nativity. The crisp December air, tinged with frankincense and candle wax, thrums with anticipation as pilgrims from every corner of the globe join the local Christian community, each heart beating with Catholic devotion and awe. The centerpiece of the night is the midnight mass at the Church of the Nativity, the very basilica built over the storied cave where heaven kissed earth and God took flesh for our redemption. Bishops, priests, and religious gather in solemn procession, their vestments shining in the golden glow of 1,000 tapers. The chants of the Gloria and Credo swirl beneath the ancient stone arches, forming a tapestry of praise that transcends time, binding the living to the countless faithful who have knelt here before. Within the grotto of the Nativity, a hush falls as clergy and pilgrims take turns kneeling on the spot sanctified by the birth of Christ, bowing in silent adoration before the silver star that marks the mystery of the Incarnation. Above, the church resounds with the age-old melodies of Adeste Fideles in Silent Night, the Latin and ancient languages uniting all in the universal language of worship. Throughout Bethlehem, processions light up the streets with flickering lanterns and prayers. Franciscan friars, guardians of these holy sites for centuries, invite all into deeper communion through veneration of relics and the celebration of the Eucharist, the source and summit of our faith. The entire town, wrapped in reverence, seems to pause as the faithful receive Holy Communion. Christ made present anew, the same divine child born that night so long ago. Every liturgical element on Christmas Eve in Bethlehem is designed to draw the soul closer to the heavenly mystery made manifest here. From the majestic hymns to the heartfelt prayers of the pilgrims, every gesture and word points to the radiant truth of Christ's birth. For those blessed to participate, even virtually, the experience enkindles a longing for sanctity, a glimpse of heaven, and an unshakable hope in the promise first revealed in this sacred cave. Praying the joyful mysteries in the shepherd's fields. Imagine kneeling among silent hills in Bethlehem, dawn's pale fire, bathing stones, and olive branches, the very landscape where the angels' chorus first broke the world's darkness. Praying the joyful mysteries here isn't an abstract devotion, it's a homecoming. Every decade of the rosary vibrates with the living memory of the Incarnation, as if heaven's kiss on earth echoes through the rocky clefts where shepherds once kept watch. Begin with the Annunciation. In this field, recall the Word made flesh, an event that unfolded not as distant legend, but as local history imprinted on the soil beneath your knees. Whisper the words, "Be it done unto me," and let them mingle with the ancient Bethlehem winds. As your fingers trace the beads, enter the visitation. Visualize Mary traversing these very paths, bringing Christ unseen but fully present to Elizabeth, just as he was first brought to these hills, hidden in Mary's womb, and then, so soon after, revealed to the humble. Each joyful mystery radiates with Eucharistic reality. The Nativity is not distant. The grotto lies just beyond, a silent cave where the infinite God became visible. The presentation offers the awe of encounter. The finding in the temple becomes a search for the divine in the ordinary, as every stone, every blade of field grass still testifies to the sacred event. Praying here is surrender, uniting your longing with those first shepherds whose awe and trembling became the earth's first adoration of the newborn Christ. In the shepherd's fields, every Hail Mary feels like a candle lit in the cave where heaven truly touched earth. Encountering the Eucharistic Christ at the manger. To stand before the manger in Bethlehem at Christmas is to stand at the threshold where God's eternal yes to humanity took flesh. The cave's rough stone, cold and hidden, is the silent witness to the moment when heaven stooped down to earth, when eternity began beating with a human heart. Yet, as Catholics, there is a reality here even deeper than the poetic beauty or ancient memory. This is a place where the mystery of the Incarnation meets us not only in history, but in the living presence of Christ that endures in every tabernacle around the world. In the straw and swaddling clothes, the Word became flesh for us, beginning the journey that would lead to Calvary, the resurrection, and most intimately, the gift of the Eucharist. The manger itself, a vessel for nourishing food, foreshadows the altar and the chalice. Here, the bread of life was first laid, pointing forward to every Mass where Christ offers himself as true spiritual food. Bethlehem, which means house of bread, reveals its full meaning at Christmas. The child in the manger is the same Jesus who gives himself wholly, body, blood, soul, and divinity, to his church in the Blessed Sacrament. Pausing amid prayers and carols, pilgrims in Bethlehem are invited into a holy awe, for this is not only the birthplace of Jesus, but the birthplace of Eucharistic devotion, the humility of God who allows himself to become present, vulnerable, small as bread, is echoed first in the silence of the stable. The Catholic heart recognizes in contemplating the infant Christ the mystery that makes every altar in the world a little Bethlehem, every Holy Communion our own Christmas morning, heaven here for us. St. Joseph's silent witness, lessons for fathers today. In the stillness of Bethlehem at Christmas, amid the soft glow of lantern light escaping from the cave's humble entrance, one figure stands, unwavering and silent, St. Joseph. The Gospels recount few of his words, but his actions, laced with obedience, fortitude, and astounding faith, echo through the centuries as a luminous guide for fathers everywhere. Joseph's love was proved not by empty declarations, but by deeds steeped in self-sacrifice. When the weight of God's plan pressed down upon him in dreams and angelic messages, Joseph responded with quiet yeses, courageously taking on the guardianship of the Christ child. He embraced the unknown, trusting in God's providence, even as he led Mary through darkness to Bethlehem's cave and later into exile in Egypt's uncertainty. In a world that clamors for recognition and rewards self-promotion, Joseph's silent, sturdy presence calls men, especially fathers, to a different path. Here was a man who bore the awe-inspiring responsibility of caring for Jesus and Mary. He protected, provided, and prayed in steadfast humility, seeking no earthly glory. He models a fatherhood that is intimately tuned to God's will, responsive in action, and rich in compassion. Bethlehem at Christmas is more than the miracle of divinity entering humanity. It is also a school of virtue for all men called to spiritual leadership in their homes. St. Joseph shows that true strength is found in self-gift, fidelity to vocation, and daily perseverance in God's grace. His witness is not a relic, but a living call, inviting fathers today to embrace holiness in the silent sacrifices and hidden acts of love that shape families and echo to heaven. Marian devotion in the grotto, Mother of the Word made flesh. In the hushed shadows of Bethlehem's sacred cave, Marian devotion radiates with profound heavenly energy. Here, where the infinite God chose the finite shelter of Mary's womb, time seems to pause, allowing the hearts of pilgrims to encounter the mystery of the Incarnation in tangible reality. As candles flicker beside the silver star that marks the very spot of Christ's birth, one cannot help but contemplate the Blessed Mother's fiat, her yes, echoing more vibrantly than any carol sung above the city's cold stone. Within these humble walls, Mary is not a distant figure, but the beating heart of God's plan, a living tabernacle through whom the Word became flesh. Pilgrims kneel, rosaries clutched tightly, invoking her intercession as mediatrix of all graces. For it was her virginal womb that became the first earthly monstrance. In that hidden stable, the veil between heaven and earth was lifted, and the fullness of Catholic orthodoxy teaches us that Mary's role was and always is inseparable from the Eucharistic mystery. Amidst the silence, the centuries old Marian hymns and whispered Hail Marys rekindle the ancient wonder, Ave, Gratia Plena. Full of grace, Mary gathered all of Israel's hope and longing, carried in her arms the very bread of life. The grotto is permeated with her maternal presence, a presence that does not end at Bethlehem's borders but stretches to every altar, every home where hearts burn with love of her Son. Here, contemplation deepens. To honor the mother is to draw nearer to Jesus, embodying the wisdom of the saints and the eternal call to follow her example of humility, faith, and total surrender to divine providence. Franciscan custodians, guardians of the holy sites, step inside Bethlehem on Christmas Eve, and you'll sense the presence of not just the faithful, but a lineage of humble, tireless guardians, Franciscan friars robed in brown, tending the sacred ground where heaven touched earth. These men, bearing the torch first lit by St. Francis himself, have kept vigil in Bethlehem's grotto of the Nativity for centuries, defending it with unwavering loyalty through persecution, storms of history, and the shifting politics of kingdoms and empires. Their mission runs deeper than mere stewardship of stone and relic. The Franciscans are living witnesses to the Incarnation, defending with their very lives the truth that God, majestic and infinite, chose this very cave, this very soil, to become one with us. No modern comfort blunts their sacrifice. Every day they rise before dawn to chant the divine office and celebrate the holy sacrifice of the Mass, enfolding Bethlehem's pilgrims in a living tapestry of prayer. Here, amidst flickering lamps and ancient icons, the Franciscan custodians serve as bridge builders. They welcome not only Catholic believers, but Orthodox Christians, Armenians, and seekers from every nation. The harmony, often hard won, bears witness to the Church's universal call and fidelity to the beating Eucharistic heart of the faith. To witness the Franciscans at Bethlehem at Christmas is to glimpse a living connection to the earliest chapters of Christian history, a tradition unbroken, an apostolic flame kept burning through their hands, shoes shuffling on cool limestone. The real Christmas miracle endures. The God who made the stars dwells humbly among us still, and his custodians keep watch through every silent night. Embracing Bethlehem at Christmas, a call to dwelling with Christ. As we draw our gaze towards Bethlehem at Christmas, we are not simply remembering an ancient story. We are invited to kneel at the threshold where heaven kissed earth, in the humility of a cave, beneath the gaze of angels, where Mary cradled the bread of life. This holy ground is not distant or mythic for faithful hearts. It is made present to us in every Eucharist, the living fulfillment at the heart of our Catholic faith. Through the lens of journeys of faith, we are called, one heart, one mind, one spirit, to encounter the same mystery embraced by shepherds and kings, Christ becoming flesh out of infinite love for us. Let your Christmas be more than nostalgia. With every pilgrimage, physical or virtual, in the quiet of your home or before the tabernacle, you can spiritually enter Bethlehem's cave. Let us, like the saints, the Magi, and Our Lady herself, surrender our hearts anew to the wonder of Emmanuel. This is our mission, to help Catholics everywhere rediscover the radical transforming power of Christ's birth and his abiding presence in the Eucharist. In Bethlehem, God has made a dwelling with us. This Christmas, let us make a dwelling for him in our hearts, striving always for the one true goal, heaven. Visit Journeys of Faith online collections. Be sure to click the link in the description for special news item. And since there is more to this article, finish reading and check out the special offer, visit journeysoffaith.com website today.
Journey is your journey.